Hello everyone, this is Diana Kim, Criminal Justice Librarian. Now that we know about the parts of a case, let's talk about how to read a Supreme Court case in Westlaw and what information to look for. The primary goals of reading a case is to gain an understanding of four important parts: the facts of the case, the arguments of the parties, the result and reasoning of the court, and an appreciation for the potential impact the opinion will have on future cases. But first, let's talk about the importance of the facts of the case. The facts of the case are usually legally important. Many areas of law are highly fact-sensitive, which is a fancy way of saying that the proper legal outcome depends on the very specific facts of what happened. If you don't know the facts, you can't truly understand the case. Second, you should get an understanding of the arguments that each party argued to the court. Lawsuits are disputes, and judges only issue written opinions about the law when two parties to a dispute disagree on a particular legal question. As a result, when judges do write about a legal question, they generally focus on resolving the party's particular dispute, not on writing about all issues that they may see in the case. This means that the lawyers, not the judges, take the lead role in framing the issues raised by a case. In an appeal, for example, the lawyer for the appellant must articulate specific ways in which the lower court was wrong. The appellate court then looks at the lawyer's arguments and either agrees or disagrees. Similarly, in a criminal trial, it is largely up to the defendant's lawyer to raise problems with the prosecution's case and to articulate reasons why the prosecution's case was flawed. Because the lawyers take a lead role in framing the issues in a case, you need to understand when you read a case exactly what the arguments of the two parties were making. You simply can't understand the court's opinion unless you first understand the dispute and what the parties wanted resolved. Next, it's important to have an understanding of the result and reasoning of the majority opinion, as well as the reasoning of any concurring and/or dissenting opinions. Your emphasis here should be on understanding the reasoning offered by the judges for the conclusions they make. Why did the court do what it did? How did the court frame the problem before it? And how did it try to solve it? What sources of law did they rely on for their ruling? Finally, you should spend just a moment thinking about what the effect of the court's opinion is likely to be on future cases. In a future case, the facts will be a bit different, but should the outcome be the same? First, it's hard to understand the impact of a legal rule unless you think about how it might apply to specific circumstances. A rule might look good in one situation, but reveal a big problem in another. Second, the judges often reason by analogy, which means a new case may be governed by a previous decision when the legally relevant facts of the new case are similar to those of the old one. Cases present a lot of sometimes difficult to understand information. Fortunately, Westlaw has given us some excellent tools that will help you make sense of difficult cases. These tools are editorial enhancements written by Westlaw attorney editors specifically designed to help make reading cases easier. First, whenever you begin reading a case, after you've looked at the caption and the parties, scroll down to the area titled Synopsis. The synopsis is a concise, paragraph-length summary of the facts and main legal issue of the case. It's kind of like the abstract of a scholarly journal article. It will give you a very brief overview of the case to help you understand what the case is about. Following the synopsis, you will see West headnotes. These are short summaries of each legal issue discussed in the case. Some cases have just one or two. Others have 15 or more, depending on the number of issues that were argued by the parties in the case. You will see these in more detail in the opinion of the case. These numbers are linked to the opinion. If you click on one of the headnotes, you will be taken to the part of the opinion where that particular area of law is being discussed. You will see within the West headnotes, West topic and key numbers. Each headnote is classified under one or more legal topics or key numbers. This is Westlaw's indexing system and can help you find other cases that deal with the same legal issues as in your case. In this example, Headnote 1 involves a constitutional law issue dealing with law enforcement officers' use of excessive force. As you can see here, there are 11,926 additional cases that also dealt with this same constitutional law issue. Just remember that each of these tools, the synopsis, the headnotes, and the key numbers, are Westlaw tools. They are not the opinion of the court. They are summarization and indexing tools to help you understand cases. After the preliminary West material, but before the opinion of the court, you will see a section titled Syllabus. The syllabus includes the facts of the case, the holding of the court, the disposition, and which justice delivered the opinion of the court. This includes which justices concurred or dissented from the opinion. Following this, you will see a list of the attorneys that were involved in the case. Next comes the opinion of the court. First, you will see which justice delivered the opinion. In this particular case, we can see that Chief Justice Rehnquist delivered this opinion. The arrow is pointing to one of the West headnotes that I talked about earlier. The number 1 refers to headnote 1 that appears below the synopsis of the case in Westlaw. Because headnote 1 is referenced here, we know that the constitutional law issue related to law enforcement use of excessive force will be discussed in this section. Next comes the body of the opinion. As we learned in the previous video, the law is typically presented in 2 stages. First, the opinion will discuss the general principles of law that are relevant to the case given its facts, and next the court will apply the law to the facts to reach the court's outcome. As you browse through the opinion, you will see again the West headnotes that were referenced earlier to the left side of various paragraphs, identifying the areas of law that are being discussed in each section. To increase overall understanding of the cases you read, I suggest reading cases in a particular order. First, read the synopsis to get a brief glimpse of what your case is about. Next, read the syllabus to get a more detailed account of the facts and disposition of the case. Then, scroll back up to the beginning of the case and look at the headnotes to familiarize yourself with the primary areas of law being applied in the case. And finally, read the opinion to see how the court applied the areas of law to the facts. And now you know all the components to a Supreme Court case. I hope you found this video helpful. In the next, I will show you how to search for cases in Westlaw. If you have any questions about anything covered in this video, please feel free to reach out to me. You will find my contact information in Blackboard, as well as a link to schedule an appointment if you would like additional help. Thank you and have a great day.